Good afternoon to you from our digital desk. In the case of Erica Stefanko, the verdict is in. We're going to show you live inside the courtroom here. We can see that is Ashley Biggs's mother that is already emotional. We don't know what the verdict is, obviously, as of yet. We're expecting that verdict to come down in a matter of minutes. We were told about 15 minutes. That was about 5 minutes ago. So this could be anywhere from about maybe 2:10 to 2:15. That means the jury deliberated for 3 hours yesterday. They started deliberations again this morning at 8:30. And then we were told that they did not take a lunch break, that they deliberated right through lunch, clearly meaning that they were close to a decision. And that's where we are at right now. Again, we're looking live inside the courtroom. We also have a live picture here, another crew that's set up in the courtroom or in the courthouse to perhaps get some instant reaction. And in fact, I'm going to show you, we're inside the court, just down the hall from there, as we are going to wait for this decision. This has been one of the most convoluted and complex cases I've ever reported on. We have been committed to gavel coverage, and let's just run through this one more time in case you haven't been following the case. This was back in June of 2012 that Ashley Biggs was a pizza delivery driver at the time for Domino's. This is in the Akron area, more specifically New Franklin. A phone call was made to Domino's Pizza, and we know that that phone call was made by Erica, her name now, Erica Stefanko. She was Erica Cobb. She was married to Chad. Chad had been going through a nasty custody dispute with Ashley over their child, Grace. Erica had talked and been recorded on a 3-hour conversation about a plan. She kept referring to a plan that she and Chad had concocted. In that recording, she is talking with Chad's mother after he's already been sentenced to life in prison for his role in this. It was testified that once Ashley showed up to that parking lot to deliver that pizza, it was a closed business in Akron. She shows up to the back like she was instructed from the phone call from Erica Stefanko. We're looking live again. There is Ashley Biggs's mother. She has been there for the trial this entire way. She is already emotional. Keep in mind, she has already gone through this once. There was a guilty verdict delivered already for Erica Stefanko back in 2020. That verdict was thrown out after she appealed because her husband at the time, Chad Cobb, he testified during COVID via Zoom from prison. The appellate judge said that was improper procedure. That he should have been in the courtroom testifying so that the jury could read his face, his mannerisms, that they could try and determine if he was lying or not when he was on the stand. So that original guilty plea and her sentence was thrown out. There you see her attorney, that's Erica Stefanko's attorney, showing back up. All attorneys would have been called in this, as well as the prosecutor. Generally, if they are in the same city, they get about a half an hour heads up. So that would make sense that our crew was given a 15-minute heads up. But you have this super convoluted case. Here comes also co-counsel for the defense. We will wait to see Erica Stefanko be brought in. I assume it'll be the same as we have all week. She will have a blue piece of fabric over her handcuffs. She has been in custody since that original guilty verdict. She was sentenced. She was in custody. She was in the prison system. The decision was overturned. The guilty verdict was overturned, but they slapped a $2 million bond on her right away. She never got out of jail. She has been living in the Summit County Jail for the last 3/4 years, waiting for today's verdict. about the only difference in the first trial and this trial that's played out over the last week and a half is the fact that Erica Stefanko herself took to the stand. And it was just yesterday, I believe, that this bombshell, or actually it was the day before, that this bombshell was dropped when Erica took the stand. It was the first time that any of us had heard this theory that this plan was not a plan for murder of Ashley Biggs. According to Erica Stefanko on the court, the plan was to set her up to put meth in her car. Now, that is the first time that had ever been floated out there. And I want you to think about this. Her defense attorney, we see leaving the courtroom there, her defense attorney knew going into this that that was going to be their play, that she was going to be the last witness on the stand, to take the stand in her own defense. The defense gets to go last. There we see the prosecuting attorney, that is the detective, lead detective in the case, the red-haired gentleman. He was the lead detective for New Franklin where this crime occurred. Getting back to their defense, the defense knew that Erica Stefanko would go last and pitch this new idea that they were just simply supposed to be planting meth in Erica's car so that she would get busted for that, so that she would lose custody of Grace and it would go back to both Chad and Erica. The problem with that, as I look at this and as we've heard from our defense analysts, is that with her floating that last, and she claims that Chad knew about it, that Chad's mom knew that that was the plan. Neither Chad nor Cindy Cobb, and there we see live Erica Stefanko coming into the courtroom. Again, her handcuffs covered up just so that the jury, that's a procedure thing, the jury can't see her in either an orange jumpsuit or handcuffs. That gives them the bias of her guilt. I'm just watching this conversation go on. Erica, this is her life on the line. Either she will be sentenced yet again for her role in all of this, or has the potential to walk away from the courthouse with a not guilty plea. We will wait for this to play out. Court is not in session yet. The judge has not taken to the bench, but we will wait on this so that we don't miss a single second. This is why we have promised gavel to gavel coverage in all of this so that nothing will be missed. If you have watched every second of this case, like there's a handful of us here at the station that have going through gavel to gavel coverage, this is what it all comes down to. Erica, I'm going to be honest, she looks a little more tired today than she has during her entire trial. Last night had to be very trying for her, knowing that the jury was given this case yesterday at about 1:30 in the afternoon. Remember, when the jury went back to the jury deliberation room, they were encouraged by both the defense and the prosecution to listen to the entire 3-hour taped conversation between Erica and Chad's mom, Cindy. That recording took place in 2014. That was a year after Chad had already been sentenced. He was already serving life in prison with no chance of parole. In that conversation, you hear Erica say that Chad had been threatening to tell all, that he had been giving her ultimatums. And so Erica goes to Chad's mom basically in that 3-hour conversation to try and get Chad's mom to, in some future communication, get Chad to calm down, saying that she couldn't live with this ultimatum being hung over her head, saying that every time she heard sirens, she thought it was because they were coming to get her. And she said several things in that recording that looked awfully incriminating. Things that her and Chad had gone over this plan, talking about how she admitted her role in this. She was even asked about that phone call In that recording, Chad's mom said, you know, at one point we were face to face and you told me that you made the phone call. And she said there is no lie in that, meaning that that was correct. She's the one who called in the pizza order. And so in the state of Ohio, it all comes down to complicity. Complicity is you're compliant. You helped in the commission of a crime. Now, where this gets a little tricky is that in that 3-hour conversation, she never says the word meth, but at the same time, she never says that the plan was to kill or to have Ashley be dead. But now she does say that there was only one way to make sure this problem goes away. She doesn't expand on that. In that recording, she's very guarded with her statements. For as damning as that 3-hour conversation is, it was also pretty smart on her part that she never says, you know, this plan went awry because he was only supposed to duct tape her mouth and whatever. But she doesn't go that far. It was really an interesting conversation to listen to. But I can tell you by looking at Erica right now, she looks incredibly tired. This is not the way she has looked through her entire trial. So last night, clearly a restless night for her. We get our first all rise. It looks like the judge is in the courtroom. Let's take you now live.
Thank you. Go ahead and be seated. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We have been notified that the jury does have a verdict. We're going to go on the record. This is the State of Ohio versus Erica Stefanko, case number CR 2012-07-1887-B. We have counsel for the state, Attorney Loprenzi. I believe Attorney Easter is out of town.
That is correct. She's traveling today, Judge.
Okay. And then we do have the defendant present with counsel, Attorney Jeff Laybourne, Attorney Angie Killey, and Attorney Michael Kranek.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. A couple of things to put on the record before we bring the jury in. The jury did have a couple of questions. We did bring those questions to the attention of both parties, and I just want to put those on the record. The first one was question 1. Is there a copy of the transcript of the recording? The answer we provided was that you must use your collective knowledge in the audio recording that was provided, and I believe that both parties agreed to that, correct?
Yes, Judge. Correct, Your Honor.
Question number 2 was, what does post-conviction relief/release mean between 4330 and 4430? The answer the court provided was you have everything you need to decide this case. I believe that was also agreed to by both parties.
Yes, Judge. Yes, Judge.
Finally, question 3 was, can we Google a term like above without referencing or researching the case? And the answer to that question was no.
Agreed. Correct. Correct.
Okay. Does either party have anything else to put on the record before we bring the jury in?
No, Your Honor. Just about the exhibits for defense.
Those were provided to the jury, is my understanding, and we have no issue with it.
Any issue from the state?
No, Judge.
Okay. That being said, I'll have Adam please bring the jury in. Thank you.
Big moment for Erica Stefanko. I'm trying to read into these questions the jury was asking. They wanted the transcript that was used during the trial for the 3-hour conversation. They were told no, they had to just listen to that testimony, to that phone call. They asked about a post-conviction release, what that means. The court told them they would just have to go on their own. They did not define that for the jury. And then lastly, can we Google a term like above? And they were told no, they could not Google any of the terms. It all comes down to this. This has been a lengthy process as we get the all rise for the jury to come into the room. The verdict is in deadly delivery in our gavel-to-gavel coverage. Is Erica Stefanko guilty of aggravated murder, or not guilty of aggravated murder and murder?
Perfect, thank you. Go ahead and take a seat. To the jury, it is my understanding that you have reached a verdict. I'll ask the foreperson.
Correct.
Okay, and are all of you, all 12 are in agreement with the verdict?
Correct.
And are all of the forms signed and dated? Okay, I'm going to have you hand those to my bailiff, Adam, please. Thank you very much. Okay, counsel, if the defendant could please rise. And I will read the jury's decisions. For verdict form 1, count 1, aggravated murder, State of Ohio versus Erica Stefanko, we, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, find the defendant, Erica Stefanko, guilty of the offense of aggravated murder as charged in the indictment occurring on or about June 20th, 2012 through June 21st, 2012. And I do have 12 signatures. This says we do so on January 31st, 2024, with 12 members of our jury concurring. On count 2, murder, we, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn, find the defendant, Erica Stefanko, guilty of the offense of murder in the commission of an offense as charged in the indictment occurring on or about June 20, 2012 through June 21, 2012. We do so on January 31st, 2024, with 12 members of our jury concurring. Counsel for the state, would you like the jury to be polled?
No, Judge, thank you.
Counsel for the defense?
Yes, Your Honor, please.
So I'm going to go one by one, and you just say yes or no. I'm just going to identify you by your number. Juror number 1, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and count 2? Juror number 2, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2? Juror 3, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror 4, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2? Juror 5, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 6, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2? Juror number 7, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2? Juror number 8, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2? Juror number 9, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 10, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Juror number 11, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
And juror 12, was your verdict guilty on both count 1 and 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I just wanted to express, you may be seated. Go ahead.
Before you release it, we probably should take a look at the jury verdict forms.
Oh, sure.
Thank you, Judge.
There you go.
I assume you're about to release them.
I'm going to give them some instructions. Yeah, so while you look at that, I'll give some instructions, of course. Just wanted to sincerely thank you for your public service, your civil service. This has been highly unusual. You've been delayed, and we just greatly appreciate you have all done such an incredible job. You've come on time every single day. You've paid such attention. You've just impressed all of us, and we cannot thank you enough for your service and your duty to our county. After you're discharged, you may discuss your verdict and your deliberations with others, but you're not required to do so. You must decide for yourself whether or not you will discuss such matters. In any event, you should be careful what you say. You should make no statement, verbal or in writing, unless you are sure that it is complete and correct. You should make no statement that you would not be willing to make under oath in the presence of the court, the other jurors, the litigants, and their respective counsel. If your statements are to the press, please remember your name in your statement may appear in print, in which event you should be doubly cautious to be sure that your statement is absolutely correct in whole or in part, because the press will only use the part that the reporter considers sufficiently newsworthy or challenging. As jurors, you have served as public officers of the court. When you're discharged and I leave the bench, your services are completed and you have all the rights and privacy of private citizens. It is the lawyer's duty to protect those rights and your desire not to talk about the case if that is your decision. It is improper and unethical for a lawyer or anyone else to harass, entice, or exert improper influence on you for the purpose of getting you to talk about the case. It is completely up to you. At this time, I'm going to have Adam take you back to the jury room. I do have some information I want to provide to you, some tips for jurors who've served where maybe there's been images or testimony that's difficult. So I'll be back to visit you in just a couple of minutes, okay? Adam, if you could take him back to the jury room.
All rise.
For a second time, Erica Stefanko watches a jury file out of the room after finding her guilty. This was a retrial from a 2020 technicality. Erica Stefanko found guilty of aggravated murder and murder, both counts. Those are the only two counts that she faced. It appears the bailiffs are putting the handcuffs back on Erica Stefanko.
Okay, the deputy, go ahead. Did you have something, Attorney Kelly? Yes, if the parties, the court would like to schedule sentencing for tomorrow, February 1st at 1 p.m. if the parties are available.
Let me just, we reached out to the victim's daughter.
Perfect.
Let me just see what.
Yeah, oh, please be seated, I'm sorry. Thanks, Adam.
What time did you say, Judge?
1 p.m.?
We reached out, we haven't heard back. If we could just, I know you're gonna go talk to the jury, maybe I can reach out and call.
That'd be
myself
perfect.
And then double check that. But I think one way or the other, I think they're either gonna be here or they're gonna say do it without us.
Okay, are
I
they,
think, but I wanna make sure.
okay.
Thank you.
So for now, the scheduling will be set for tomorrow, or the sentencing will be set for tomorrow, February 1st at 1 p.m. Anything further from either side for the record?
That works for us, Judge.
Okay, just wanted to say thank you to all our deputies, to Christy, and to the excellent counsel on both sides. Thank you all.
Dan DeRose with 19 News. You are watching Erica Stefanko grip with her new reality that she will never be a free woman, at least in the very near future. Her previous sentence in the first case was life in prison with the first chance of parole at 30 years. Remember, her husband pleaded guilty. He took a plea deal. Chad Cobb took a plea deal to take the death penalty off the table, and he was given life in prison with no chance of parole. That is Kimberly Biggs. That is the mother of Ashley. Very emotional. I saw at one point her mouthing to the sky, "Thank you for yet another conviction to uphold, or at least to get some justice for the murder of her daughter, Ashley Biggs." This has been an overdrawn, long time coming case, and as you can imagine, the emotions now overflowing for Kimberly Biggs and the family and friends.
My hero's right there. Right there. You knew what I doing.
Kimberly Biggs has been dealing with the death of her daughter since 2012. Watching Chad Cobb go through his proceedings in 2013 and in 2014. It wasn't until 2019 that Erica Stefanko was arrested for her role in this. Her first trial in 2019, 2020. And of course, that is the conviction that was overturned. What I'm going to do is we do have our defense analyst, Tara Coleman, joining us. Tara, we're going to stay with this shot for now, but we appreciate you joining us and talking about this. Guilty on both counts. It took 8 hours of deliberation by the jury. Give me your initial thoughts here.
That was not a very long time for deliberations, and boy, isn't this shot hard to watch. But you know, she's finally able to rest, it seems. My initial reaction is, if this were the first trial and the jury had no information of it being a retrial, I think the deliberations might have been longer, and I think it might have been a tougher decision for this jury. I think the fact that it did kind of get out to the jurors that was a retrial, I think, and Danny brought this up yesterday, the fact that this is now the first time ever we're hearing of an alternative plan, I think that really hit home with those jurors. And I think that's a very large reason for this outcome.
We do have a camera set up outside of the courtroom. We're going to keep with this. I'm going to keep an eye on it. If we see Erica Biggs come out and there she is actually coming out of the courtroom. Let's listen here if we get a reaction.
We did.
How you feeling? A lot of emotions are.
A lot of emotions. I knew from the get-go. Detective Hitchens knew from the get-go. When I was at my daughter's grave, when they put her in the ground, he said, "I'm never going to give up, Kim." And he never did, and I never would. And thank you to everyone that's been here for me, my support, my help, and my family, my friends. And I'm so sorry. I had to put everybody through this, but Ashley needs to rest. Ashley needs to rest. I need to rest. I need to go on. We got her. We got her. Thank you, Lord.
It's been a long process. Finally get this answer today.
Yes, we did. The answer I was hoping for, and the answer I do in my heart, because God will prevail. Justice has prevailed, and my daughter can finally sleep. She won't hurt her no more. She won't hurt her no more.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You all.
Thank you.
Oh, goodness me.
Yeah.
Hi, y'all. Oh, you got my money, right?
Keep going. Here.
Keep going.
I said keep moving on. I got
Well, I'm
this.
moving on.
Yeah.
It's time for me to be happy.
Yeah. Time to be happy.
I need to move on. I need to move on. I need to have a life. I've never had a life. Never had a life. I'm just so happy.
What does this mean to the rest of your family?
Oh, I'm sure they're ecstatic. They're having a party. We're all going to have a party online. I don't care. We'll all come together. Our family will be together again. What little I have left. Thank you, Mike, for being there for me. You've always been there for me. You're my rock, and you see me through this all, and I can't thank you enough. I'm sorry, I'm crying.
No, do not apologize. My goodness.
I'm just ecstatic.
Got the answer that you were hoping for.
The answer that I knew in my heart. I knew it was all gonna come together.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Trying to get some sleep as well. I know you.
Oh, I will get some sleep.
Oh yeah, you need that sleep. Yeah.
I don't know about the night terrors. They're not gonna quit, but it's okay. Ashley will see me through this.
She will. She's with you.
She can finally rest. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very emotional words from a mother who has been dealing with this for 14 years. She saw the first of her daughter's killer go to prison in 2013. She is now going to see the second of the individuals that had a role in this. We're going to bring Tara Coleman back in. Tara, you are a defense attorney. You have had wins and losses, and it is never easy, especially in cases like this. What do you take from the comment from Kimberly Biggs, that is the mother of Ashley Biggs, when she says, "We got her"?
I mean, it really kind of hits home the job of our justice system and the job of the prosecutors. I mean, 14 years is a long time. And it's like now she can breathe. I'm sure the prosecutors feel very fulfilled that they were able to keep their promise to her mother.
It is a victory. I believe Brittany, our reporter, Brittany Weir, was there. I'm going to see if Brittany can jump in front of our camera there, because I want to get her reaction of what it was like being in the courtroom. We saw simply one reaction out of Erica when the verdict was read. Brittany, going to bring you in. Erica, when the verdict was read, she simply let her head slump down. You were in the courtroom. What was it like? What did it feel like?
Yeah, a lot of emotions here as that verdict was read. We just spoke to Ashley Biggs' mom, and she's crying. She said she could finally try to go home and get some sleep. This has been a long, drawn-out process for her, but she got the answer she wanted, and she said the answer that she knew she was going to get. She was so, thankful to everyone in this case, and being able to get her daughter the justice that she deserves. We also did see Erica Stefanko walk by, come out of the courtroom, and again, still head slumped down, just once she heard that guilty verdict.
We know that she will be sentenced tomorrow. Brittany, thank you very much for that. The initial sentencing sounds like, or at least the initial time is set for tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We're going to bring back in our defense analyst, Tara Coleman. Tara, guilty on aggravated murder, guilty on murder. That tells me, and I'm not the expert, you are, that this new-founded theory that Erica thought this plan was merely to slip methamphetamine in Ashley's car, and that her husband, Chad Cobb, must have gone rogue and carried this out to a full-blown murder. Clearly, the jury didn't buy this, correct?
Correct. They didn't buy it. I think as we talked about throughout the coverage and yesterday, it really all came down to credibility and whether or not they believed the defendant. And I think it's clear that they did not, because if you took the defendant's story as truth, that would not satisfy the element for aggravated murder or murder. Okay, so they didn't buy that. They believe that the defendant knew that the plan was for murder when they went out and made that phone call for the pizza delivery.
Tara, I'm going to have you hold on for us just a second. It looks like we have the attorney team, the defense team for Ashley, or for Erica Stefanko,
Obviously,
giving
this
a statement
is part
here.
of the game. We fought hard. Prosecutors fought very hard. These are tough to win. She lost before. We took a different approach to it that we were hopeful would change that, but these are tough. When somebody's facing the most serious charges, it's extremely difficult to win. I know Erica's difficult. She's gonna keep her head up, file an appeal, and hope for the best.
Did she say anything to you when she heard that verdict? Any sort of conversation that happened? Or?
Not to me. I'm not sure if she said anything to you guys, but I could see in her eyes everything she wanted to say.
And you mentioned that she was found guilty before. This was a retrial, but you guys weren't allowed to talk about that. How hard was that to navigate throughout this trial?
It was difficult, just some of the technical evidentiary things. If somebody's testimony changed a little bit, we just had to reference it carefully. We weren't the attorneys on that first case, so I can't speak to that first trial, but I know that this trial we worked as hard as we could. It just didn't work out. The jury gets to decide at the end of the day. Erica wanted to take that route and put her faith in them, and knowing that this could be the outcome. So, she had the guts to do it, and she got up on that witness stand and told her truth, and the jury saw it differently. You good?
Yeah.
Jeff Laybourne, Laybourne. Stephanie?
The decision for her to testify, do you still think that was the right one given the outcome that you have here?
Yes. Not only did she want to do that, obviously that was something different from the first trial. The more I practice, the more I think it becomes of greater importance to if your client can do it and has a story to tell, to put them on. I thought she did well. I believed what she was telling us, obviously. So we wouldn't change that decision in hindsight.
I think we're good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
So hearing from her attorney team there, it dealt a loss today. And Tara Coleman, our defense analyst. Tara, I want to ask you, what is the feeling as a defense attorney? You've put in so much time. You've built this case. You've worked with Erica. Is this crushing? You're a defense attorney. I'm assuming you've lost. Nobody is perfect. Is it crushing, or what is the feeling?
Some are more crushing than others. And I think it comes down to it's the rapport you build with the client. It's what you believe of, when you're fighting for truth and you're fighting hard and the jury gets it wrong, that is the most crushing of an experience you can imagine as a defense attorney. Here, with the retrial and he said there to the reporters, we did something different this time. Yeah. I'm not sure. I would imagine this one isn't as crushing, but I mean, it's always mixed because it's a bit of relief because trial is hard. It's a lot of work.
Tara, we're going to listen in now to the investigators. That's the new Franklin detective on the right, and I believe a BCI detective
A
there.
little bit. I mean, this has been going on for such a long time. Trials, retrials, delays. Speak a little bit about that. And now we finally have gotten this answer.
Of course. Well, of course, we respect the process. And obviously, the pandemic caused an issue with the first trial in this case. But we indicted Ms. Devanko, I believe, in 2019. And again, I think that speaks to just the relentlessness of the new Franklin Police Department, who is not going to let this investigation quit until everyone was brought to justice.
And we got to hear from Erica. She did take the witness stand when she was giving her side of the story. I guess any thoughts or things that were going through your head at that time when she was saying her side of it?
Sure. Well, I think anytime a defendant testifies, you're curious what you're going to hear and how the jury's going to hear it. But I think it just speaks to the investigation in this case that all of the evidence showed that what she was saying wasn't the truth.
Is there anything you want to say to Ashley Biggs' family? We saw her mom was in there very emotional when she heard that. Any messages to them?
We hope they find peace through this. Of course, there's nothing that's ever going to make them feel better. But it's a 12-year process. Now, hopefully, they can begin to put this behind them.
Thank you so much. Is that it? Okay.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
The detective there on the right had said on the stand, and he did take to the stand, Tara, that he knew that there was someone else involved. Of course there was. The phone call that was made to Domino's Pizza was made by a woman. We heard from the manager of that Domino's that took the call that lured Ashley Biggs to her death. The detective saying he never gave up on this case because he knew somebody else was involved. Now, what did it take to find that someone else involved? Well, it took a recording that was taped in 2014, put in a gun safe, and not really discovered again until 2018 by Chad's mom when she takes it out of the gun safe. She listens to it and says, I bet the investigator, I bet the detective would like to hear this, and she finally turns over the recording. Justice delayed, but still justice in this case. That is a strange turn for this case.
Strange turn indeed. You don't normally see the facts play out, the evidence play out in that manner. Boy, what a dramatic one, Dan.
Let's talk about sentencing and possibilities. Hope I'm not putting you on the spot. Tomorrow's sentencing, 1 o'clock, of course, will be there. She is facing sentencing for aggravated murder and murder. Any idea what the possibilities are?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar to her original sentence. So by statute, both crimes are 15 to life. So that's where it could go between. And it sounds like we weren't sure if the victim's family was going to come in or not, but they'll have another chance to give victim impact statements, and tell how the death of their family member impacts them. And that is all weighed in the decision-making process that the judge will go through to deliver a sentence.
looking back at and we started to get into this before we went to the last detective's interview, we started to talk about this idea that the one thing different in this case was Erica Stefanko herself taking the stand. This is a woman who had been proven and had to admit that she lied so many different times throughout the custody battle, throughout the investigation, that she had lied so many times. And finally, she takes the stand. And how powerful is the questioning by the state that says, you have lied so much, but now supposedly you're telling the truth?
One thing that surprised me in that line of questioning was that the defendant herself didn't say, kind of show the difference of, okay, I'm here under oath on the stand. I don't know. That popped out to me as a difference in throughout the case lying. Maybe she could have made something of, this is a bigger deal. I just put my hand on the Bible, something along those lines. And she didn't really defend herself in that regard. So it was powerful, the state's questioning.
And you didn't get any of that. And I'm not saying she had to try and whip up some tears or something, but you never got that tearful, but I didn't do this. I'm telling you, I'm begging you to believe me, I didn't do this. You never got that. She was cold. She was straightforward. Her answers were abrupt at best, especially when she was being cross-examined, but I can understand that. This is somebody who doesn't like you. This is somebody that's trying to put you in jail or prison for the rest of your life. But she just clearly couldn't convince the jury. As we started off with this, 8 hours, just 8 hours of deliberation. What does that tell you as a defense attorney?
That's short for murder trial. So it tells me kind of what you were hinting at yesterday, Dan. They probably did go in there and they were all on the same page.
It's been an interesting trial. Tara Coleman, defense attorney here in Cleveland, has so graciously helped us through several cases. We appreciate you joining us on this one. Tomorrow will be the sentencing. It'll be an interesting day. Tara, thanks for joining us yet again today.
Thanks, Dan, as always.
All right, take care. We're going to wrap this up. We promised gavel-to-gavel coverage. The trial is over. She has been found guilty, but there is one last step, and that is sentencing. We will be there tomorrow, continuing our gavel-to-gavel coverage. But the headline today, Erica Stefanko, for the second time in her life, found guilty of aggravated murder and murder. And tomorrow we'll find out just how long she has to pay for that crime. Our 3 o'clock news starting in just about 20 minutes, and that's on Channel 19. Until then, I'm Dan DeRose with 19 News. Have a good afternoon.
19 News is everywhere. Download our CTV apps and follow us on social media @Cleveland 19 News.